So yeah, like I said, I just kind of just kept getting reinforced that, that's what I needed to do. So it wasn't nothing to me, just made sense. Like me and my crew, we had a radio show. I used to work at Loud Records, at one time.
Wait, you used to work at Loud, you said?
Yeah, I used for Steve Rifkin, yeah, SRC.
Were you there? When were you there? Were you there? Because Mickey, this is the cool thing about the show, right? Is that like at this point we've been doing it so long that like sometimes there are a lot of things that are like recurring themes. Like a majority of us came up making pause tapes, right? Because that's just when we came up, right? Like
that's what we had.
But Mickey Fax, when he was on the show, said that he worked at Loud Records while he was was it for you? Maybe were you guys at the same time working there?
I don't know. I don't think so. Okay. But I used to work for Loud. I did
what records
college
were
radio.
Out, what records were you promoting at the time?
Oh man, well, we had I think we had who had already come out. So I think this was I think Raekwon was out, like Only Built for Cuban Links. I got 1 million copies of that album still in plastic in my house. Sadat, Wild Cowboys.
I remember that record.
Before Missy dropped, Gina Thompson, and she was on that record. The
Things You Do, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of our records at the time. This chick Davina from LA. That was one of our projects.
Man, that's an exciting time. That's an exciting time for you to have been there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I got that job by having a radio show. What we used to do, I used to try to create my own opportunities. So we had a radio show so that instead of us having to go and try to play the record labels would call us to play their records, and we would just capitalize on those relationships.
So how did you start the radio show?
We were on a radio station, but we paid for that. We came out of pocket, called WBAI, 99.5 back in the day.
That is the station that another one of our guests that came here. One of our guests was Jason.
Oh, okay. They about to close in here.
Oh shit.
We still in here. Yeah. But what do you call it? WBAI. The one of the stations that we used to be on. And like I said, we was throwing out on shows and stuff like that. So, I mean, whatever was that? I can't even remember what year that was. I'm sure there's a picture somewhere online.
99, 98, 99?
Probably earlier than that.
Okay, 97 maybe? 96, 97? 95, I think it might have been.
Oh, it could have been 95. I don't know.
Wait, I forgot what year Purple Tape came out. I'm gonna look it up.
Somewhere else I could post up. They literally turning the lights off and putting the on.
Purple Tape dropped 95.
95?
Yo, what up, Power NYC? Yeah, it dropped 95. So you was on. You paid.
We'll go with you.
Yeah, we're happy
to
go with you.
Yeah, you wanna walk?
Yeah, we'll walk with you. Absolutely.
I mean, from my perspective, it's always exciting to see New York. But
I mean, if your appointment is ready,
yeah, like
I also understand.
I'm in a Starbucks. I'm good because I'm like I said, I'm far from the hood. I should have walked out on the train, but I'm in the hood. I'm far from the hood, so I was like, let me just post up or whatever. But yeah, I don't quite remember. Like sometimes the stuff, like there was so much stuff back then, and I was like looking a lot of weed. Stuff kind of blurred together for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair.
It blurs together.
So you created the radio show, and that got you to the Loud Records. And what did you do at Loud?
Radio promo, college radio. I used to work was like an assistant to this dude. He was the college radio, head of college radio at the time. And then I wrote a few articles for Bob Records. This thing is going on. Let me go. Pull my tablet out. I'm gonna change the perspective a little bit. Where the camera is? It's up here.
Yep.
Okay, that's better. There we go. All right, guys. So yeah, we can walk through the
Yeah, that's exciting.
like a hobo. Yeah, so I mean, it was fun. I had so many different experiences. You know, coming up and stuff. And I think for me though, the most exciting stuff to me was like just being able to travel. That was like always my favorite part of what I did. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Everybody give it up to Starbucks.
Shout out Starbucks.
Fact. Shout out Starbucks. Shout out to Starbucks.
I only
So
have.
where I'm at. I'm on the Upper West Side.
Hey.
I'm not too far.
I love that neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm not too far from Lincoln Center right now.
Oh, nice.
So
I sort of know what that means.
yeah.
Lincoln Center is like a famous. It's one of the most famous halls where like
Lincoln.
classical music.
Like you could go to Lincoln Center and see like a Philharmonic, like the Alvin Ailey or
Alvin
big
Ailey,
performance venue.
Big. Like it's
Upscale
where all the
venue.
rich elite. That is where
Right.
they like what they do
on
on a Friday, Saturday night.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I walk by it. I'm not too far from Central Park either. So
shout out to DJ Evil D in the comments.
Oh,
who probably showed
Evil
up
D's
because
here?
of you.
Yeah. Shout out.
Well, listen,
DJ
he's
Evil D.
he's another one. Speaking of not paying for beats, that him and Mr. Walt, big supporters of mine. You know what I'm saying?
Super cool.
And we did records together. You know?
Yeah.
I know E from way back.
I was gonna say I saw that you had a couple Beat Miners joints that came out a couple of years ago. Actually, like not too long ago, like 2008.
More than a couple.
I think it was. 2000. I think it was 2008.
Don't ask me no years and have me out here lying because I don't even know.
Well, everybody knows
I got that smoker's brain.
It's not necessarily hard facts; it's rough estimates.
Don't get me to lying because I don't know. Shit was like yesterday, but it was not.
He sent his love.
Yeah, you
Shouts
did.
out to
hey,
you,
E, I love you
DJ
too.
That's really cool.
Much respect.
Much appreciated for stopping by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know what? I've been wondering, Pani, right? Like, how did the polyrhythmatics thing come about? Like, how did that who was it that like coagulated all the people that were involved in that?
All right, so that's funny. That was Mr. Complex doing a record, right? So I had already done, I told you that my deal was I would go record and I would just go on tour shopping my shit around the different labels. And I had a contact at Nervous. So I did, I shopped a couple of records. I did like compilation project or whatever for them. And he was like, yo, what else you got? He was like, I know you got some shit. You always doing some shit. You holding out. I was like, well, I got something I can't play you. Right? He was like, what is it? I was like, well, I just did a record the other day with Mr. Complex, Shabab Sadiq, DJ Spinner. He's like, yo, stop playing. He was like, you can't leave here unless you let me play that shit. You should play it for me. Oh, Juilliard over here too, right? So I was like, all right, man. I said, but I'm not supposed to play it for you. Mr. Complex tell you this story to this day, and he'll be like, I told her not to play it for nobody. He told me not to play it for nobody. He will tell you to this day, he told me not to play it for nobody. It's 30 fucking years later, yo.
Still ain't let that go.
But I played it. He can't let it go. So, but I played it, and then the dude was like, yo, he was like, all of y'all, this is a fucking super group. He was like, I'll give y'all a deal. I played them the song, and we walked, and we got the deal.
Oh, that's fucking
wild.
awesome.
All right, so New York City, this is Lincoln Center. So now you can't say you never seen Lincoln Center.
That's
The
really cool.
Beauty of Lincoln Center.
Yeah, Upper West Side is gorgeous. It's one of my favorite. I mean, I have a barber business, so I'm always all over the city. But Upper West Side is gorgeous. It's very peaceful up here. I love being here.
Facts.
That's
Facts.
dope.
Me and the wife was looking to get into like the hundreds. You know what I mean? The rent though is where I was looking at. You know, I wanted to be over by Riverside. You know what I'm saying? Like Riverside.
Yeah. That's where my client is. That was just on Riverside.
Yeah, exactly. Riverside 102nd is like, you know, like a solid 4 racks a month. You know what I'm saying?
I told you I had a real estate license when I got my license. The dude told me my first day, and this was back, I think like 2003. I got my license, 2004. First day, dude was like, "Yo, if the apartment costs less than $3,000, there's something wrong with it." All right. So that was then. So you know everything has exponentially risen since then. New York is not cheap, but you paying that convenience tax to live here. And honestly, it's gorgeous. You know, it's a vibe. You know what I'm saying? It's a vibe. It's a mentality. There's levels to this shit, as they say.
It is.
Yeah.
Because
New York, you could be here with the vibe and be on some super entry level shit too. This is not.
Yes.
Like you know, I don't know if
New York has many like tiers. Like you don't have to enter at the 100. But the thing is, if you enter at the 100 tier, right? Like the level of the 100 tier in New York City versus everywhere else is like, no, bro.
Yes.
This is like
it's still way different.
It's way different.
Way poofy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
like,
could be at the bottom and be feeling like you at the top somewhere else. Yeah.
Like people often like. I know,
hectic.
You know,
this should've break the wrong
right?
motherfucker.
It breaks.
Yeah,
people.
It should have break the wrong person.
And I hear people whenever I hear people be like, "Oh, New York isn't what it is." I'm like, New York is never what it used to be because New York is always ever evolving.
Right.
But
I'm gonna tell you something deeper than that, though. New York is
energy.
New York is so. New York is the home base for magicians because New York is whatever you want it to be. Whatever you make it. There's not many places that's like that. But you know, like I'm sitting here telling you my story, and you know, I went from one rabbit hole to the next rabbit hole and found one situation into the next situation. It's only a city like New York can do that for you because there's no. That's what I said. When you come outside, it doesn't matter if you live in the projects, if you live in some rat hole, you know, down the Lower East Side of Chinatown or over a train track or some shit. You know, it doesn't matter because there's so much action. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you into, whatever you want, whatever you're looking for, you can find it here. You know what I'm saying? This is a hat, and there's always a rabbit you can pull out anyway. But you got to have the mentality. You know what I mean? You got to have the mentality that you want it. If you don't want it, I mean, that's anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and honestly, being a New Yorker gave me that mentality. Like, I feel like you could drop me in the middle of the fucking Amazon and I get that shit popping in 48 hours. You understand me?
Facts.
We gonna figure it out. We gonna figure it out.
I don't know, but we gonna figure it out.
We gonna figure it out.
And New York, New York is that kind of place. You grow up here, man. You know, you figure it out. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, you gave several stories already that are like, come on, you met a dude that was like, hey, do you know where there's like
walking down the street?
Walking down the street.
And that got you
New
to
York
France.
City. And that got you to France. That doesn't happen, right? That doesn't happen to people in other places because New York City has a culture of like, you walk here. Yeah. So like you walk and you meet and you run into people that you've never met before. Do you know how many, my wife has the story of like walking down the street and like a lady coming up to her and being like, yo, you're beautiful, you can model. And she ends up in like a magazine. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Because like,
I done had a bunch
New
of
York
stuff
City.
Like that happening.
That happens in New York City, but only in New York City. That's not happening. That's not the story of like Perth. And that's not to knock Perth, right? Shouts to everybody in Perth. You know what I'm saying?
I like Perth. I had a good time in Australia.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's not the story. The way that New York runs and operates, that's not the way it is in other places.
But as I said,
Look, even in Vegas,
there's a million
even in Vegas, even in Vegas, where like they have like a area where like people do a lot of walking around, and in between all the casinos, there's a lot of walking around. But it's a different. Yeah, it's a different vibe. It's
contrived. You know what I'm saying? It's a trap. You know what I mean? It's man-made. It's a man-made beach. Ain't no sharks in that mother.
Let's do a throwback, right? It's that New York City has one of your favorite book titles, right? It's a choose your own adventure kind of place. You know what I mean? Like New York City.
That's what I said. Whatever you want it to be.
Choose your own adventure. In other places,
whatever you want it to be.
You can have a good time, but it's by the book. It's the book that exists there. It's the playbook that everybody goes by. But in New York City, you could choose your own adventure, and you can make your own playbook.
Let me add a level to that too, right? Because it's talking about the mentality. It's not even just, like I said, if you got the mentality of a magician, right? Like I said, you just pulling rabbits out of hats, right? It's not even just like this place has it, but being here, you can conceive something. Like you can, New York continues to recreate the template. You know, you go to one place and the template is the template, and it's on a loop and it keeps going. But New York is a place where the template can always be recreated. There's always a new template. You know what I'm saying? And you can create that here. You're not stuck in any box unless you want to be. Some people that come from other places, they like it. They want the experience that's already here. They want to buy into what already exists. But a lot of people are here. That's why a lot of creation and artists and makers, you know what I'm saying? God level people come here that create, that make. You know what I'm saying? Because here you can make anything that didn't exist before. You know what I'm saying? New York is a Genesis place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Facts.
I fucks with that.
Facts.
So
let's get back
before
to the
that.
story of
Before we
Apani.
do that, can I ask something from the comments, from the people?
Oh yeah. No,
Yo, this is for the homeboy
lot of
Lindell.
support. People
Who are some female hip hop artists that might have influenced you along the way?
Okay, so female artists that
influenced you.
Female artists that influenced me. I mean, well, of course, my girls that was on the scene at the time, because you know you go home writing your shit, and like I said, there wasn't that many of us. And then you go to the open mic and you see these chicks blowing shit out. You're like, oh my God, I gotta go back home and write some more shit. So I want to mention all of those chicks again, like all the Anomalies, Pre, Halix, Invincible, Jean, Sarah, like everybody, all of those females, Yesterday, you know what I'm saying, with her smooth self. Okay, she's my homegirl's tuning in. What's up? I don't know if she's in yet, but big shout out to my girl Cassidy. She a barber chick. She nice with these clippers. She don't play no fucking games. You know?
Hey,
it's like the clipper game, like the rap game. But we can get to that. Y'all can ask me about that later. Female barbers. That's like
female barbers.
Shit, right?
Not for nothing. That's like I've seen it, right, as a New Yorker dude, right? Like there's like
bitch. What's up, Cassidy girl? You in here, right?
The pushing.
Sorry, I'm
the pushing. You good. The pushing of of women, like as barbers.
Yeah.
That used to be a taboo. Yeah. That did not used to be the thing. You know what I mean? And now it's like the thing. Like I see guys leaving their barbers because they're almost kind of like chasing the wave where they're like, nah, everybody got like, nah, I need to have
not
a woman
just that, like it's nice to have a woman touching me, but I had guys tell me that they like women for the details, right? Like they like women because women get into the details.
Yeah, I mean it makes more sense, right? Like a woman's gonna know what a guy's supposed to look like when he's supposed to look good. More than a guy.
I think same thing. Like a guy will change the template. A woman, like a guy knows, you know, masculine shapes, that energy. But a woman knows what she wants to see. She wants to know how she feels when she look at a dude, right? Like, you know what make you weak in the knees, and you're trying to recreate that all of the time. That's why I tell my clients, I'm like, yo, my job is just to make you a little more fuckable. You know what I'm saying? So to help you create the version of yourself that you want people to believe you are.
That's what it is.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Earlier before we started the show,
I didn't even
you know,
finish
that
answering that
go ahead.
question that you asked me about the female artists, because I don't want to forget my maidens, because we can get back into the barber and shit too in my business. But I was I used to like I guess like all the chicks everybody else talk about. Like I like Light, I like Antoinette, Ice Cream Tea. I gotta say that I wasn't crazy about, I mean, that's way back, right? I wasn't that crazy about Kim and Foxy. I got a new appreciation for them now as an adult, you know, a little bit further past the game than I did when I was younger. Because I felt like like when you was talking about women using their sexuality and trying to control, you know, take ownership of that. And I say yes to an extent, but it was also a gimmick. So you know, I wanted to be, you know, imagine going to a hospital and you get a female doctor. You choose a female doctor because she got bigger tits than the male doctor. That's never going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I was just always wanted to be respected in my profession. So I never put and I'm always the only, you know, one of the only females in the room. You know, you in these rooms, you in these spots, and it's like wall to wall and smoke, and there's all this testosterone going around. And imagine me coming up in it. These chicks didn't come up in these places that I did. You know what I'm saying? They, you know, they getting put on by Puff, but you know, they was not in the open mics. They was not down in the streets and battling and all this other kind of stuff and doing what I was doing. Maybe somebody like Nicki Minaj was, right? And you see her back in the tapes in the days, she wasn't dressing like how she do now. You know what I'm saying? But you want it to be respected, and you come in those spots. You don't want anybody looking at your boobs. You want somebody listening to what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it wasn't a matter of, you know, not being feminine or not embracing my femininity. I was embracing my craft. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted my craft to speak for me before I wanted my body to speak for me, because that's easy. You know what I mean? Dudes, it don't matter. You know, you come outside in a burlap sack, you know what I'm saying, and a black eye, and the dudes still want to, you know, give you some rhythm or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
this is a fact. This is a fact.
Getting laid is easy. We all here because somebody got laid, right? So that's not hard. Yeah, that's not hard. But to be respected was not easy.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
It was very difficult back then. In New York City, it was very difficult to get respect.
I mean, it's easy for everybody now.
Work for it.
Yeah, it's easy for everybody now. Like, you can kind of have a little wavy image. Like, a lot of the stuff that's fly now, even in terms of, like, you know, like the dudes and the cats that's coming out now, like, none of that shit would have flew back in the day. Like, yo, you remember that story with KRS-One coming and grabbing the PM Dawn dude off the stage and busting his tail or whatever?
I do.
You know, none of that.
But,
yeah, no, he came and threw the dude off the stage, man. It's a famous story. I remember one time I did a party at what the hell was the name? I can't remember. It was on 28th Street, but it was a popular spot at the top. I did a party, and my homegirl, she came through, and I want to shout her out, but I don't want to say her name because
you don't want to associate her name with the
with the event,
with the story,
right?
With the event,
with the story, but she was a female artist at the time. She didn't even get as much light, but she knew a lot of people. She was well connected. Like I said, the scene is small. Everybody knew everybody. But she had brought ODB with her to the show, right? And he performed. And there's a story I think about him doing the same shit to the Roots. They brought him on the stage and they couldn't get him off. Same shit. It was like a showcase. So there was a lot of people performing. Everybody had a time slot. Yo, he got on the stage and took over her whole set. I think she did one song. You know what I'm saying? And I had to go to ODB and be like, yo, bro. Like, you gotta...
You had to be the one, huh?
You gotta... Yeah. No doubt you're a superstar. We're so blessed to have you here, but everybody trying to get like you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody trying to get like you, so you gotta get off the stage, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's hilarious.
So, but it was like that, man. Like this whole this whole rap thing was like, it was just like the gauntlet, man. It was like, you know what I'm saying? It was everybody trying to get seen, everybody trying to get heard, and you know, so like I said, a lot of stuff now, like people doing stuff in the music is like fashionable. It's just casual. You know what I'm saying? People make the stuff they know is hard. It's not really that complex. Like people was literally trying to beat each other brains in with their brains. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trying to be clever. You know, trying to make you think and
trying to outwit each other.
Trying to outwit each other. You know, it's definitely a game of wits at the time. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it was good times, bro. It was good times.
Good times were had by all.